Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again with some more Macedonian Wars. If this is your first time visiting my channel, you should definitely check out the episode before this, because this is basically part two of a four-part series. So, yeah, you should definitely do that. And speaking of the first part, mine has gone blank. Okay, you're saying the Macedonian area there. That was when Alexander the Great, when he passed away. Obviously, like his marshals or generals, they kind of split his territory up, right? And basically, that Greece and everything is basically, I guess, the split territories of his, whatnot kind of thing, right? But I guess Macedonia is like kind of like is the more powerful one, right? I think I'm wrong here, partially, but I'm sure you guys will let me know. So yeah, but anyways, Macedonia kind of threatened to kind of or threaten. I mean, they went over there and well, not they didn't do it, but the pirates kind of went over there and took a bunch of stuff and caused chaos. And Macedonia kind of stepped in and and I guess thought, man, mine's a blank. I'm sorry. Like, mine's a blank completely from last episode. I feel like as soon as I start playing this, it'll all come back to me. But yeah, right now I believe there's a peace treaty for now. Uh, Obviously that's not going to hold on. I mean, if that holds, then we have no, we don't have no videos to watch right now. So obviously, someone's fighting. Someone's attacking who. Obviously, I think it's going to be Macedonia is going to be the one that kick it off, because I think Rome is kind of cool. I mean, they're still fighting Hannibal. Actually, I think that they just defeat Hannibal. But anyways, yeah. One of you guys also mentioned that it was kind of crazy that Rome was kind of fighting two wars. Well, I guess the Macedonian wasn't really a big war, but they were sending men to fight battles over there, and didn't really kind of realize that. So that's kind of shows the kind of power that Rome had. But now that I think Hannibal's done here. It's going to tell me in 2 seconds when I play it. But so basically, Macedonia, you're kind of like, you're going to have the full force of Rome after you, once they are able to concentrate all on you. So I don't think it's a good idea to go after Rome right now. I think if you were going to do it, you should have done it at the very beginning. Basically join forces with Hannibal at the beginning of that Hannibal things, because then things could be totally different. But now that you're trying to do it after Hannibal, it doesn't. I don't think it's going to work. But I mean, I guess they're still weakened from Hannibal. But I don't know. Enough of me mumbling and doing whatever. We're going to jump right into this, guys, and see where we left off. Okay. Kings and Generals, guys. Amazing channel. 3, 2. Well, before we do, hit the like and subscribe, please. If you're on the second part right now, I know you've already heard me say this, so just go ahead and do it. And it's just one more click away. Yeah, there you go.
By 200 BC, the great general Hannibal had been humbled, and Carthage much reduced, leaving Macedon perilously vulnerable. Philip V's alliance with Carthage drew the Roman Republic's vengeful gaze to the east. It was clear Italic influence in the Greek world was about to increase, and this influence would have profound implications for both the Roman people and the Greeks alike. Welcome to our second video on the Macedonian Wars, culminating at the Great Battle of Cynoscephalae. Shout out to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. ExpressVPN is an Kings and Generals to learn more. When Philip V received reports of the final Roman victory at Zama in 202 BC, he did not stop his belligerent behavior. Instead, he began to take advantage of a weakened Egypt, alarming many of his smaller neighbors. From 207 BC, Egypt had been caught in a downward spiral. Since the Battle of Ipsus, the Eastern Mediterranean had been kept stable by a balance of power between the three major Hellenistic monarchies: Antigonid Macedon, Ptolemaic Egypt, and the Seleucid Empire. If one of the three was becoming too powerful, the other two prevented it from becoming a hegemon.
Makes sense.
This system began to break down in 205 BC, when the priests of the Egyptian god Ammon took advantage of native discontent with Ptolemaic rule and proclaimed a new pharaoh. This ignited a devastating revolt which detached all of Upper Egypt from the regime in Alexandria. Matters deteriorated even further in 204 BC, when King Ptolemy IV died prematurely and was succeeded by his 6-year-old son, Ptolemy V. Conflicts over the regency paralyzed the Alexandrian regime and rendered it vulnerable. The timing couldn't have been worse. The First Macedonian War between the Romans and Philip had just ended, and Seleucid king Antiochus III had returned from his Great Eastern campaigns. Both of these great kings now hungrily eyed the almost defenseless overseas Ptolemaic possessions, and Antiochus launched the Fifth Syrian War in 202 BC in order to seize traditionally disputed territories in Cyprus and Coele Syria. The predatory Philip V swiftly gained several of the Cyclades Islands and established good relations with the many Greek cities on the western coast of Asia Minor. However, he quickly earned the ire of both Rhodes and Pergamon, who declared war on him in 201 BC. Soon after, Philip defeated a joint Rhodian-Pergamene relief attempt at the Siege of Chios with heavy losses, and then attacked Pergamon itself. Though Philip decisively defeated the land army of his enemy outside the walls, he nevertheless failed to take the city. Realizing that attempts to do so would only drain his forces, Philip instead annexed most of Caria and the Rhodian Perea directly into what was becoming a new Macedonian empire. In the autumn, Philip's fleet was attacked at Lada by the...
Yeah, so basically Macedonia, they're gaining momentum right now. And when it comes to other bigger powers, they don't like when they see other people, getting stronger. So, someone's going to step in here, like, Rome's probably eyeing them from a distance saying, I don't like this, man. They're gaining power. They gave us trouble earlier, and now they're gaining more power. We might have to do something about that. So, see how this plays out. But I don't think that Rome would interfere unless Macedonia interferes first. I could be wrong.
In the autumn, Philip's fleet was attacked at Lada by the Rhodian navy, but managed to win anyway. During the winter of 201, a Rhodian fleet blockaded Philip in the Gulf of Bargilia on the Carian coast, where the king apparently struggled to feed himself and his army. They knew that the king would break out at some point, and also knew that they were losing the war against Macedon, so they decided to find help. Ambassadors of Pergamon, Rhodes, and Egypt traveled to Rome, informing the Senate of a secret pact that Philip had signed with Antiochus III, which would divide the Ptolemaic possessions between them. It was these smaller, weaker Hellenistic states which opened the gates for Roman intervention into the Greek world, as they saw the main threat to their independence as coming from Antiochus and Philip, and not from Rome.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Because they have to fear from everyone. Like, they're not fearing Rome right now. I mean, I guess, Philip is the immediate threat, but if you think Rome is just going to sit aside and let you guys, I guess, whatever. Rome wants, take control of you guys too. They're just not doing it now. I guess that's the whole deal, right?
From Antiochus and Philip, and not from Rome. As predicted, Philip managed to trick his enemies into letting him escape during spring of 200 BC, eventually returning to Macedon. The northern Aegean campaign continued on land upon his return, and the king swept through the region until he reached Abydos, which he put under siege. Observing this blatant Macedonian aggression, and the dangerous cooperation between the two Hellenistic monarchies, the Roman Senate asked the people to vote for war. However, the People's Assembly rejected this demand for yet another war due to war weariness and the fact that southern Italy had been devastated in the Second Punic War.
That is so true.
Consul Publius Sulpicius Galba intervened and gave a speech comparing the emerging Macedonian threat to the great invaders of Italy, Pyrrhus and Hannibal, and that persuaded the assembly to declare war.
Okay.
While the Roman military prepared its lines of supply across the Adriatic, and Philip continued his siege at Abydos, 3 prominent senatorial emissaries went on a great diplomatic mission in the east. Their message was clear. If Philip refrained from making war on the Greeks and compensated Pergamon for their losses, there would be peace. As a result, Antiochus was coerced into ending his war against Egypt and breaking his assistance pact with Philip, while the Macedonian king brashly rebuffed the Roman envoys and committed to war.
Wow.
The Second Macedonian War.
Okay, so basically Philip's not the one who initiated it. Rome is the one who initiated it. Philip was going to mind his own business with Rome, but Philip's like he wants conquest. He wants to be able to build his country, his land, and all that stuff. I mean, Caesar basically did the same thing, right? So obviously that's like 150 years from now, but it is what it is. Rome doesn't want to stop them from getting too much power, because then obviously once Macedonia gets too much power, they will end up putting their eyes on Rome, because they've proven that earlier when they didn't even have a whole lot of power. So here we go, guys. I'm assuming it's going to be on Macedonian soil, though.
War. The Second Macedonian War had begun, and it started with the fall of Abydos, whose citizens committed mass suicide due to their reluctance to live under Philip's rule.
What?
In late November of 200 BC, the king returned to Macedonia and learned that 20,000 Romans.
So, under Philip's rule, I know that things were different back then, but it's not kind of like I don't even want to say this. I don't want to compare it to like today, where you change your president or you change your this, you're going to kill yourself. I'm not comparing to that, but can't you just get up and move? I guess it's not that easy, but like, hey, you don't like living here? Just go down the street here, down the countryside. I don't know. I think that's kind of that's pretty extreme, don't you think? Wow. Mass suicide.
100 BC, the king returned to Macedonia and learned that 20,000 Romans had already landed in Apollonia under Galba, while 50 warships were docked on the island of Corcyra. Deciding to focus initially on the peripheral threats, Philip campaigned into the Peloponnese. At the same time, Consul Galba conducted raids into the Illyrian countryside to prepare for the campaign, notoriously sacking Antipatria so thoroughly that it only recovered 700 years later. After subsequently failing to invade Macedon through the mountains, the weak and sickly Galba was replaced by Publius Villius Tapulus.
So Philip going down and raiding down here basically took everything they got, and it took them 700 years. That's like up until like the fall of like Rome, basically, right? I mean, after 700 years from now, basically, you went through the whole like golden age of Rome, and basically that goes to about 500, and then that's when Rome goes on their decline, right? So, wow. So they don't really start getting back their health until Rome goes down. Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Things went even worse for Villius, as he was immediately faced with a mutiny among the legions upon taking command. 2,000 veterans of the Second Punic War felt they had been away from their farms and families for too long and refused to obey orders. The Roman forces were paralyzed for a while, but to his credit, Vilius listened to their complaints and promised to raise them with the Senate. Then he marched and encamped near a gorge on the Aus River. Philip V.
You can't, man. Like, I know I've said this in previous videos as well, but it's like, can you really blame the troops? It's not like today when you go to war, you're gone for a few months, maybe a year, you know, and then you get to go back and visit your family. And especially today when you can like kind of do video chat and all that stuff, talk on the phone. Back then, I think they were gone for like 5 to 10 years at some points, right? And man, you might have a kid by the time you get back home and be like almost a teenager or something. So you can't, can't blame these guys. I mean, and you probably have like your wife or girlfriends at home. Probably don't even no idea if you're even still alive after years of not seeing you, because I'm not sure how that works. You know, if they send letters home to the, to the girlfriends or wives. I'm not sure if that was a thing. Rome was pretty advanced, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was a thing. But yeah, I mean, you just did a big war, and all of a sudden they want you to go back out again. Yeah, can't really blame them there.
Then he marched and encamped near a gorge on the Aus River. Philip V had also arrived here not long before, setting up his own army in a strong defensive position on the main route from Apollonia to Macedon. Vilius's command had run its course, and immediately after establishing his camp at the Aus, he was replaced by a vibrant member of the patrician Quinctia family.
I just want to say, I do remember this from the Hannibal series, and this is basically the same time period as Hannibal. There's like once a year. Well, this just wasn't Hannibal series. I mean, this has been through the past of these wars here. Like every year, they got to replace the general with a new one, and I guess, and I always thought that was good, and it was had its pros and cons, but I think does it seem kind of? I wonder how like the troops felt about that. I mean, you got your leader here, and then he gets to leave, go back home and see his kids, and get replaced and kind of be in this cycle. And then, but the troops don't have that they don't have that option. They're kind of stuck there. So I wonder where the morale of the troops are thinking, that man, that's messed up, man. You get to go home see your family, and then we're stuck here to hopefully not be led by the new guy in the wrong way or something. I don't know.
He was replaced by a vibrant member of the patrician Quinctia family, Titus Quinctius Flamininus. This passionate, hot-tempered and generous Philhellene had previously served with success as the governor of Tarentum, and in 198 was elected to the consulship despite being too young to legally do so. Ignoring the standard period of honours and administrative duties a new consul would undertake in Rome, he almost immediately set out for the Greek East with 3,000 veteran troops accompanying him. After reaching the Roman camp at the Aus, Flamininus relieved Vilius of command and sent an envoy to demand negotiations with Philip.
I wonder if this is going to be good or bad. What do you think? Good or bad? Because this guy's new, brand new, doesn't have the experience. Apparently he's hot-headed. Philip, obviously has experience. He seems he's been around everywhere. Obviously, I think each side probably has their kind of spies. And so I think Philip might know, that this Titus guy is new, and I wonder if he's going to use this to his advantage right now, to him being hot-headed and new, and entice him into a situation he's not really, a situation that really he shouldn't really be taking. I don't know.
King and consul faced off on opposite sides of the swift-flowing Aus, each with their respective entourages of advisors and generals behind them. Philip attempted to bring Flamininus to a compromise, arguing that the treatment of each annexed city would need to be different, proposing a decision by independent tribunal. However, Flamininus was not going to accept any compromise, and instead proclaimed that his mission was to liberate all Greek states. To this end, he demanded that Philip first relinquish Thessaly, a possession which had been part of Macedon for 120 years. This intentionally irrational demand worked, provoking Philip into breaking off negotiations and returning to his excellent defensive position. The Roman general wasted no time, and ordered his missile troops and light infantry to skirmish with Philip's forces, engaging in projectile duels. This distracted the Macedonians and their commander, while 4,300 hand-picked legionaries, guided by an Epirot noble named Charops, moved around a back route up and over the mountains. Once this flanking force was in place, Flamininus advanced, and the Macedonians fled to avoid being trapped in the Roman pincer. The loss of Philip's crucial baggage train was a massive blow, but even worse was the loss of confidence that this defeat brought to the Greek allies of Macedon. As the king returned with his bloodied army to Macedon, many wavering powers now either declared for the Romans or remained neutral, including the Achaean League, Macedon's most powerful ally.
I honestly was not expecting it at all. I honestly thought that Philip was going to take that no problem, and then Rome would probably come back, better than ever. But I think that was huge, just because, like they said, is that Philip's allies are going to be like, damn, man, I thought you were better than that. We're going to kind of go, I think it's better for us to kind of be on the Rome side, and then the ones who were maybe thinking about joining Philip are just like, nah, we're going to stay neutral. So, wow, that definitely was a big deal.
Macedon's most powerful ally. The subsequent campaign was indecisive for Flamininus, who became bogged down at a siege in Atrax and then retired for the winter. At the same time, Philip began preparing for a decisive clash in the following year, recruiting even youths and old men for war.
Wow.
Peace talks failed when the glory-hunting Flamininus' command was extended, leading him to break off negotiations. When spring came in 197, Philip marched south and stopped at a town called Pherae, where his army began to forage for supplies and even spotted some Roman scouts. Learning of the Macedonian presence, Flamininus and his army marched north from Boeotia, hoping to intercept Philip before he could withdraw. On a bleak, foggy morning, the two armies finally came into the proximity of one another near a sloping ridge called Cynoscephalae. Before the battle begins, let us take a moment to examine the composition of the opposing armies which came into contact on the hills of Thessaly.
Okay.
Flamininus' field army consisted of 2 Roman and 2 allied legions, totaling around 20,000 lethal legionary infantry, with many grizzled veterans of the Punic War among them. 2,000 velites screened this core of the Roman army, while 2,500 equite cavalry and even 200 war elephants protected its flanks.
Okay.
Along with these Italian forces, the Roman army also included a substantial contingent of Greek allies. 1,200 light infantry joined the army from Epirus, 800 archers from Crete, and 6,000 infantry, as well as 400 cavalry from the Aetolian League. All in all, Flamininus had around 32,000 troops. On the other side of the ridge, Philip's corps of 16,000 sarissa-wielding phalangists were accompanied by 2,000 elite Agama peltasts, 4,000 Illyrian and Thracian mercenaries, 1,500 Greek hoplite mercenaries, and 2,000 Thessalian and Macedonian cavalry. Each commander knew that their counterpart was close, but their reduced vision in the fog caused disorientation in the two armies. Philip set off marching in the morning, sending a group of fast-moving skirmishers to the ridge's summit in order to get a better view. As they reached the top, 10 Roman cavalry squadrons and 1,000 velites emerged from the murk and attacked. Both scouting contingents suffered some casualties, but both also managed to get word to their commanders of what was happening on the Cynoscephalae ridge. Flamininus reacted swiftly, sending 2,000 Aetolian infantry and 500 cavalry to the ridge as reinforcements. Their arrival...
I'm sorry, I'm rooting for Macedonia right now. I'm sorry, the title is Macedonian Wars, so, just like always, that's who I'm supposed to be following, so that's kind of who I'm rooting for. And, we all know how powerful Rome is, right? So, it's fun to root for the underdog, the little guys. So, I know a lot of you are, big Rome guys, and so am I, but because I already know the outcome. Obviously, Rome, we know what Rome ends up becoming to be. So, come on now, give Macedonia some of their moments here and maybe get some victories. Come on, Macedonia.
Infantry and 500 cavalry to the ridge as reinforcements. Their arrival swung the balance in favour of the Romans, and the Antigonid skirmishing force slowly withdrew to the top of the ridge, sending frantic messengers to Philip for help. Even though the king did not wish to join battle in such unfavourable terrain, he was not going to abandon his scouting party, and sent 3,500 cavalry and mercenary infantry to reinforce it. This tipped the scales, and the new reinforcements now pushed the Romans back down the slope. Polybius tells us that they almost routed completely, but this was prevented by skillful skirmishing and harassment by the Aetolian allies. At this moment, the morning sun began to burn away the fog, and with the battle on the slope visible to the Romans, Flamininus and his entire army could see their forces losing. Witnessing the apparent defeat of the Roman skirmishing force demoralized the main Roman army, but their commander handled the situation appropriately. After ordering his entire army to form up in battle order, Flamininus addressed his troops at the base of the slope. He used all of the oratory skills that a prominent politician would have, professing to them that, "You fought these men before, and you've beaten them before." As this happened, the triumphant Antigonid skirmishers sent jubilant messages back to Philip, urging the king to attack while momentum was on their side. So the order was given for the army to deploy in battle order. Due to the unprepared nature of the encounter battle, half of Philip's troops were still foraging, and he could only form up half of his forces, ordering his general Nicanor to follow up when the others had returned. Having formed the right side of his line, the king marched at the head of his phalanx up the slope, hoping to rush and rout the Romans with the weight of his phalanx, which was screened by the Agama peltasts and flanked on the right wing by cavalry. On the other side of the ridge, Flamininus advanced only with the left side of his line to reinforce the battle which was still going on between the two scouting parties. The heavy infantry's presence in the fight now caused the Macedonians to retreat back up the slope. Many were killed, while others fled back towards their king. Two half-armies were now marching up each side of the slope directly towards one another, but were still completely unaware that the other was present, due to the fact that a slight fog still obscured sound and sight.
Dang,
it was because of this that the Roman left may not have seen Philip's 8,000-strong contingent cresting the hill in front of them as they climbed, but now both armies came into view of one another. The phalangists quickly organized into a double-depth formation, lowered their sarissas, and charged down the slope at the unprepared Romans. The remnants of Flamininus' scouting force barely managed to form up before the phalangists hit them. Metal pikeheads clashed against the heavy Roman shields, but the crushing momentum of the downhill charge and double-depth phalanx quickly began to force the legionaries back. The Antigonid and Roman cavalry clashed on the wing, and the light infantry skirmished with one another, but the main clash was in the centre. Though the Roman left fought bravely and stubbornly did not rout under the pressure, it was slowly but surely being chewed up by the bristling pike wall. The encounter battle had started well for Philip, and it seemed like it was only going to get better when Nicanor's larger contingent began to crest the ridge on the king's left flank in a rushed marching formation.
But
despite his best attempts at rallying the beleaguered troops on the left from behind the line, Flamininus was being pushed back ever closer to the Roman camp. Realizing his left would soon collapse under the weight of the phalanx, the Philhellene commander wheeled his horse and galloped over to the unengaged Roman right, which was now screened by the war elephants. Upon arriving, Flamininus ordered his forces on this side of the battlefield to charge at the disorganized men under Nicanor's command, most of whom were either arriving or still had not formed up. Phalangists, the core of Philip's army, were almost useless when not deployed rigidly, and the Romans now crushed them. Many Macedonian soldiers were killed outright, but many more ran away and were chased by the legionaries.
damn.
It appeared as though the battle was in balance. Philip had triumphed on the Roman left, but Flamininus had crushed Nicanor. However, an unnamed Roman tribune, who must have possessed immense respect among the troops, now managed to halt 20 maniples, or around 2,500 of the troops, on the right wing, probably mostly made up of veteran triarii. Realizing that things were not going well on the Roman left wing, the unnamed military tribune marched his contingent of disciplined troops across the ridge and then struck the victorious phalanx of Philip from the rear. At the same time, the inspired and angry legionaries who had suffered for hours under the Macedonian attack renewed their assault. This intuitive maneuver caused the inflexible phalanx to fragment, and many of its phalangists were killed. Philip rode up and down the line in a vain attempt to rally his soldiers, but quickly realized it was hopeless and galloped off the battlefield. As the Romans were busy butchering the remaining enemy troops, a particularly terrible slaughter occurred. A group of Macedonian phalangists performed the traditional gesture of surrender, raising their pikes directly to the sky. However, the furious legionaries charged in and killed them all anyway. The battle was over, and the legion had triumphed over Alexander's phalanx. The Romans only lost around 700 dead, mostly on their left, which had bravely stood their ground under the attack. Antigonid casualties were catastrophic, with 8,000 dead and another 5,000 captured. Humiliating peace terms were imposed on Philip at the subsequent conference at Tempe. He had to evacuate all of Greece, including Thessaly, and give up conquests he had gained in Asia Minor and Thrace. A large war indemnity was demanded, his navy was destroyed, and his son Demetrius was sent to Rome as a hostage. Finally, and most chafing, proud Philip would become a client king of Rome, essentially a puppet. This war broke any viable attempts at Macedonian revival, but it would not stop them trying. New videos in our series on the Macedonian Wars are on the way.
Wow. There's 4, because, you think, okay, there's 4 episodes in the series, so you're thinking, okay, like, Macedonia has to come up with some kind of victory to keep things going, but wow, they just got, like, destroyed, like, utterly destroyed, so I cannot see how Philip or Macedonia can recover now. Like, they said that it wouldn't stop them from trying, and so I'm just expecting maybe some skirmishes coming up, but wow, is basically that was the best chance they had. It seems like, I mean, I'm always wrong, so I'm gonna end up being proven wrong in the next couple episodes, because something's got to go down the next couple episodes, so I'll find out. But damn, that was disappointing. I was like, come on, Macedonia, and then it didn't work out. Rome was just too strong, and that's the thing. They're like, that was basically Philip's like entire army, and that wasn't in Rome. Still had them outnumbered, but you still know, like, that's not Rome's entire army. Like, just say Philip wins that battle and destroys Rome's army. Rome's probably just going to reload. They probably got a lot more soldiers waiting for them back home, or they're just going to reload and go back after Philip. That's just how Rome is. It's like they have a lot more resources and a lot more pool of people to kind of pull from for help. And so, I mean, even if Rome got destroyed there, I mean, they could easily still, I think, come back. Obviously, Macedonia would have had the momentum, and then they would have had a lot of allies probably come to their side after that. But I still think Rome in the end would have came out on top. Uh, but yeah, this is definitely a big blow to Macedonia, and yeah, I don't know where they go from here. I mean, they took away their ships. They even got a hostage. They took his kid as a hostage. So, like, what do you do? You're the king. If you do anything stupid, I mean, they'll probably kill your son over there. I mean, they had what, hundreds or thousands of warriors like giving up, put their phalanx or whatever it's called in the air, like we're giving up, and they just killed them anyway. So you know, you can't put it, past Rome to kill the guy's kid. So, yeah, I don't know what to expect. I expect there to be some kind of uprising. Maybe like Philip passes away and someone new takes over and then tries something. That's what I'm thinking, but I really don't know. But yeah, definitely like insane kind of battle, I guess, because just how the landscape was, and they couldn't really see each other till they were upon each other. And yeah, I kind of seen that coming when Rome was pushing them back there on the right, and they're. I was like, all they got to do. I was thinking to myself, all they do is pull some troops back and get them from behind. And they did exactly that. So that was definitely very smart on their part. And Titus definitely has proven me wrong. He's doing a really good job. But yeah, there you have it, guys. Another great episode. Please hit that like and subscribe button below if you haven't yet. Please, thank you. And we will continue on through Macedonian Wars. Cool stuff here, guys. Cool stuff. I'm curious. What's the next one say? Next one says Battle of Callinicus. Uh, this okay. This is like wow. This is like 25 years later, something like that. So yeah, we probably have a new king coming up, and like a lot of things, within like Macedonia area right there could change. And so, yeah, this will be really interesting. We got another battle coming up, because a lot can happen in 25 years, right? But yeah, anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys watching with me, and it's always a blast. And I will definitely catch you guys in future videos, and definitely some more Macedonian wars tomorrow, right? Because Macedonia is awesome, and learning about these awesome wars and battles is just as awesome, or even more awesomer. Yeah. So there you have it. Like, subscribe, catch you guys in future videos. You guys are amazing. Love you. Peace. And have a great night. Catch you guys. Love you. Peace. I don't know. I'm out of here. I don't even know what the hell to say except for bye.